All right, so the purpose of this video, and this is a Tennessee Math Teachers Association Algebra 2 test, is not to teach algebra. It is literally to make you a better test taker. That's all its purpose is, nothing more. I'm going to do as little algebra as possible. Now, some things have to be done, at least for me to explain using algebra, but most things don't. All right, so I want to know where two things intersect. What I see is I see a y1 and y2 opportunity. I see y1, y2. That's what I see. That's what I do. So, off to y equals I go. You know, I really would like to see Dresden High School get a clean sweep, locally at least, on this thing. I have some really, as much crap as I talk about in class. The truth is, and these kids know it's not aimed at them, I have some really strong kids, as strong as I've ever had. And I really think we can get first, second, third, especially if you watch this blasted little video. I got two answers here, all right? They are likely conjugates of each other. Second trace 5, get close, press enter 3 times. Oh no, there's -1, nice whole answer. Second trace 5. Of course, nobody's supposed to miss the first question. Enter, enter, enter. 2, all right, cool. So we got at least one answer down. All right, for which of the following values of theta is the sine of theta not 1/2? Now, here's the reality. In Tennessee, trig was removed from Algebra 2. That's the reality. In Tennessee, trig was removed from Algebra 2. But it's not a hard question. It says, where is sine of theta not 1/2? And you have a calculator. You just have to be careful about the mode. So I'm going to go to mode. I'm in degrees. I happen to know the answers to these already, but should be. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Anyways, if I do the sine of 30 degrees, I'm going to get 1/2. The other degree I see is 570. -1/2. Oh, well, that was it. Cool. Let's just check some of the other ones here. Sine -330. That should be the same as 30. Yeah. Anyways, that's how hard it was. Now, just to go back and do some little things with you here, you also have a radian there. See that pi over 6? Pi over 6 is called a pi rad. So I changed my calculator into radian mode, and then I can hit sine of pi over 6. 0.5. There was another radian over here off to the side, 29 pi over 6. If they throw any trigonometry on this test this year, unless the person you're testing against had a very good geometry teacher, you're at an advantage just by knowing how to push buttons. But anyways, it was this one, 570 degrees. Now, just because something was removed from the state standards doesn't mean it doesn't show up on this test, because you were taught trig your geometry here. If the number of bacteria in a culture increases 6% every hour, approximately how long will it take the original sample to double? I'll do this kind of cheating too, but it's obviously not A. But let's just do what we've been doing. We're going to let our principal be 1. After time, we have some 2. So 2 equals 1. We're increasing by 6%, 1.06 to the t. It is probably the easiest way to do it. And now I'm open up for the opportunity of a y1, y2, or I could just plug some stuff in. Let's just do that. We have 1.06. Let's check that 33.3. Yeah, that's not it, is it? All right. let's check maybe 16.7. That's not it. All right, let's check 11.9. There she is. The other way to do this would be to go at it from like the mentality of a fifth grader who's pretty good at math. You know, take 1.06 and multiply it by itself. And just keep doing that. Whoops, times, and then counting. And I guess you'd have to stop around 12. So that'd be third time, fourth time, fifth time, sixth time, seventh time, eighth time, ninth time, 10th time, 11th time, 12th time. Yeah, see, things like that. To do 4, you do have to know something. You do have to know standard form of a circle, and that is x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared. Circles were always a big deal in Algebra 2 up until recently. Anybody who's making this test, I mean, they're kind of in the idea of what Algebra 2 was when they were a child. So they throw anything that they think was in Algebra 2 when they were a kid. So let's plug our stuff in. We have -1, 3, and we're just going to change our signs. +1 quantity squared plus y minus 3 quantity squared equal to 2 squared. And then we're going to do some math. We're going to write twice. We're going to do the double distributive property. Let's see what we got here. We got x squared plus 2x, gone, gone, gone. Y squared minus 6y. So we're one of these two, and it's just about these numbers here. If you take away 4, you're at 5. You add 1 back, you're at 6. Choice B. That is the easiest way to do this problem. It would not be particularly easy to solve number 4 for y. So that is the easiest way to do that guy. Let's see, what is the equation of the line passing through the point 1, -2 that is perpendicular to the graph of the line 2x minus 3y equals 7? You don't have to know much. The easiest way to do this is probably algebraically. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this guy look like y equals mx plus b. And what would we have? We'd have -3y equals -2x plus 7. I'm good with that. We divide by -3. And I'd have y equals 2/3 x minus 7/3. Now, perpendicular slopes are opposite reciprocals. So if I have a slope of 2/3, the opposite reciprocal of the perpendicular slope has to be -3/2. That's what it has to be. So done with those. So what am I going to be if I'm going to be -3/2? I'm pretty tired here, but I think it's going to be this one. Let's see, 2y equals -3x. There's the negativity I was looking for, -1. Divide by 2. So there you go. You didn't have to actually sit down and write an equation. You just had to know about perpendicular slopes. Now, if you do have to actually do some more math, and that would be the next step, you might also need to know point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. That might come into play. I don't know. We'll see. Easy frickin' question. Like, if you don't get this, why did I take you? Oh, that's just mean to me, isn't it? What do we have here? We got translation notation. You know, what does x plus 1 do? That's going to be left 1. Minus 2, down 2. That's all there is to this problem. So here's where I'm centered. I have to go to the left 1 unit. And the only graph I actually see that goes left is B. Does it also go down 2? 1, 2, 1, 2, left. Yep, that's it. So here's your answer, choice B. All right, theta is a third quadrant angle with a cosine being negative 7/12. What is the value of tangent? It's a really easy problem if you're willing to draw in quadrant 3. That's the kicker. You got to draw in quadrant 3. Make sure you draw in quad 3. Quadrant 3 is down here. When you draw a triangle in quadrant 3, you always make the right angle be on the x-axis. We'll throw what's called theta prime in there. I'll talk more about why it's called theta prime when I actually do trigonometry after EOC. And I'm going to write down SOHCAHTOA. And the cosine ratio is negative 7/12. The cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So 7 and 12, and 7 has to be negative to create this negative ratio. Going to do a little bit of Pythagorean theorem to get the missing side. So we'll do a negative 7 squared plus b squared is 12 squared. That'd be 49 plus b squared is 144. We'll take away 49 and I guess get 95. So b is going to be the root of 95, which does not simplify. Because of direction, it is negative. Direction matters. Direction determines sides. Determines signs, should I say. Anyways, now I can do tangent. The tangent of an angle is going to be opposite over adjacent. So negative root 95 over negative 7, which is going to clean up to be choice D. Ta-da! All right, the parabola is y1 and y2 intersect at 2 points. See what I did there? Y1 and y2. This one would be pretty easy to do by hand too, but why? I don't know. Oh, that's 2x to the second. It would actually be quicker to do by hand. But whatevs. Zoom 6 the way you were trained. There we go. There's 2 points. There's the origin. And they want this little guy right here. Second trace. It's probably something along the lines of 2/3 or maybe like C. Get close. Enter, enter, enter. Oh, I've got 2/3 on the money. 0.666666667. So choice D. What is the value of this sum? All right. As much as I want to teach this, I'm going to do something else. I'm going to do something called graphical equivalency. All right. I'm going to place the question into y1 and choices into y2. So let's go to y equals. I don't feel like going to n over d. It's actually slower. you want to use n over d or you type in the fraction, that's fine. It's just slower if I don't make mistakes. So there's that. And then we have plus a -1 divided by parentheses x minus 1. And let's just throw in answer choice B, which actually stands a pretty good chance of being it. Answer choice B is going to be all of 3x divided by all of x squared minus 1. And we'll do a zoom 6. Oh man, I was close, but that's not it, is it? All right, so let's move on here. Which one did I just do? Did I do C? Let's try E. I was using the insert button there so I didn't have to type over everything. This is looking like her. As long as she's fine in the middle. There we go. Graphical equivalency. Works every time. Molly drove the entire length of Interstate 40 in Tennessee, beginning at the Arkansas border in Shelby County down by Memphis, and stopping at the North Carolina border in Cott County. It took her 9 hours and 40 minutes. Which of the following must be true? I kind of thought this was weird to be on an Algebra 2 test. But which of the following must be true? And what's funny, this is 10. Okay, good, we agreed. I kind of glanced at this one earlier and I thought it was between these two. It's one of these two. But Molly drove approximately 75.8 kilometers for every hour for her entire trip. That's probably true. I don't know. Took 9 hours, 40 minutes. That's 9 plus 40 over 60 hours. Remember, we want to actually be in decimal form. 9.66667. If we take our decimal 732.7, they're not expecting you to struggle with coming up with that number. There you go, about 75.8. So both those statements to some degree are true, but here's the deal. Unless you're driving a big rig truck, you're probably stopping for gas. And you're probably going to have to eat, and you're probably going to have to pee. You need to think about that. This is kind of a common sense question. She probably stopped. And if she did not average 75.8 kilometers per hour every hour. All right. So easy question. I'm not even sure why it's on there, but I guess they're just looking to see who's got some common sense. I don't know. Max's special blend of tea is just chamomile, which costs $24, and decaffeinated black tea, which costs $45 a pound. If Max wants a special blend to cost $30 a pound, what is the ratio of pounds of chamomile to pounds of decaffeinated black tea Max must mix to make the blend? So this can be done with algebra. I'm not saying it can't be. I'm just saying the point is to make you a better test taker. What's our ratio here? Chamomile to black tea. This would be 2 times 24 plus 5 times 45, which is what, 48 and 225, which is 200 and, boy, I'm tired, 65, 73. That seems right. And there's 7 pounds there. So we divide by 7, and I'm willing to bet it's not going to get 30. Doesn't look like a 30 to me, does it? 30 to you? If you take your 273, divide it by 30, that's obviously not the answer. Or sorry, not by 37. Here we go, getting tired, making mistakes. $39 a pound. So, not it. 39 a pound. Now, the issue here was that expensive coffee, which is coming in second. So let's look at something a little bit cheaper next. Let's look at choice C. C is going to be 5 24s plus 2 30s. No, sorry, 2 45s. So that's going to be 5 times 24, 120 plus 90. Here she is. It's 210. If you divide that by 7, because there's 7 pounds of coffee here, 5 plus 2 is 7, you get 30, which was the goal all along. No algebra. What have I done algebra for? 2 problems so far? Given polynomial p of x and a real number c, which of the following statements is not equivalent to the other? Now, think about this, and you've done some of this. If f of 2 is 0, I know that x equals 2. Sorry, yeah, x is 2. And x minus 2 is now 0. Because I think about x equals 2, I've shifted 2 over. So notice the minus symbol. They're talking about some real number c. And based on what I'm writing up here, that's a 0. And the last one is true. Remainder is 0. These are all the same. And c is a root. Roots are synonymous with zeros or factors, okay? This is the weird guy. It is not equivalent. Quadratic function, the form ax squared plus bx plus c has 1 root equal to 3 plus 2 root 2I. What is the value of b over a? So think about your quadratic formula. She is negative b over twice a. And actually she's plus or minus b squared minus 4ac. Also over 2a. This is the number you get from opposite b over 2a. That's what that number is. So if I set 3 equal to opposite b over 2a, and I multiply both sides by 2, because what do I want here? I want b over a, sorry, not 2, negative 2, because I want that negativity to cancel out. I get negative 6 is b over a. Choice C. Sing this, stupid song. X equals negative b plus or minus square root. Blah, y1, y2. Seriously, y1, y2. It's like legit all it is. y1, y2. Maybe I should teach these straight up calculator. I don't know. X to the 2/3 minus 1. Enter. Clear. X to the 1/3 and y2. And then do a zoom. 6. There's an answer and there's an answer. Let's see, we do a second trace. 5. Enter, enter, enter. That little decimal right there, negative 0.23608. Second, trace 5. Enter, enter, enter. 4.23608. So for my little TI-84, these were my answers. And I've worked this one out recently, so let's just look at our answer choices. One of the answer choices is 2 plus root 5. That's going to be that 4 number. The other one is 2 minus root 5, which guess what that is? That guy right there. Choice is B. The graph displayed shows the graph of a parabola with intercepts as labeled. What is the equation of the parabola? You know, here's the reality. This should be easy for anyone who took Algebra 1. But I know it's not. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to place the x's into list 1 and the y's into list 2. And that's how I'm going to do it. So stat, it should be able to do it. If you have 3 points, the TI-84 is very capable of drawing or calculating a parabola. Now the zeros might be an issue. Sometimes they are. So my x values are -1, 0, and 3. And my y values are 0, -2, and 0. And then I'm going to go to Stat, Calc, Quadratic Regression. Make sure you don't have anything in frequency list. Calculate. And there she is. 2/3 x squared minus 4/3 x minus 2. And if I'm taking, you're smart enough to figure that out. I hope. 16. Which of the following expressions is equivalent to that thing on the interval in which they are both defined? And to do 16, I'm going to simply do graphical equivalency. That's all I'm going to do. Here I'm actually going to use n over d. Let's see, here we got math, num, n over d. I wish when I was a kid somebody would have taken the sweet time to teach me how to use a calculator properly, but I guess not, because I mean I had to figure it out. So there's the first part, and I think we have the divisor symbol in there. So divided by math, num, n over d. You know, and when I did these as a kid, we had to, you know, factor. And I get the teacher not teaching this. I don't really like teaching how to use a calculator either. Because I'm trying to teach you how to do algebra. But anyways, let's take a look and see what that looks like, assuming I have everything in properly. there is such a thing as understanding how important graphing is. It'll be a funny looking graph. It's a rational expression. Oh, looky there. It's just a straight line. That's right. Because this one reduces down to, so that's what's graphed. Now, why don't you look at the first answer choice? The first answer choice is a legit 1. I'm pretty sure that's it. Let's go to y equals, put in or any one of them. I guess I'll just put it there since it's where I'm at. Graph. Complete cover-up. Graphical equivalency. Choice B. Joe has 3 cats named Amy, Beth, and Meg. That's going to be 3 variables for me. I don't know any other way other than to show you the algebra on this one to explain the thought process. Maybe if I had more time to think about it, I would, but we've got 3 cats. We've got Amy, Beth, and Meg. She needs to know how much each of them weighs, but they are skittish and will only get on the scale with one of the other cats. She knows then that Amy and Meg together weigh 17 pounds. So Amy plus Meg is 17. Amy and Beth together weigh 19. Amy plus Beth is 19. And Meg and Beth weigh 22. We have a very simple system of equations, and I guess we could use matrices if we wanted to, but I don't really feel like it. Let's play with this one. Meg is 17 minus Amy. No, which one do I want to know? I want to know Beth, right? Oh, too much. Oh man, I gotta do that over. Amy and Meg weigh 17. Amy and Beth weigh 19. Meg and Beth weigh 22. And I want to know Beth. Beth is the one I want. All right? That's what I want. So let's do this. I did it in the wrong order. Amy is 17 minus Meg. So I can put that there. 17 minus Meg plus Beth is 19. And minus Meg plus Beth is going to be what? 2? I can add down. 2b equals 24, and Beth is a big old kitty. Holy crap. She's a big girl. Yeah, she is. 12-pound kitty. All right, what is the equation of the line tangent to a circle that passes through the origin? Blah, 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 blah. All right. Tangent lines touch one time. That's what they do. They touch one time. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to graph the circle by solving that equation for y. And it's not a hard process. Not everybody can do it. We're going to move that over. Y plus 4 quantity squared is 25 minus x minus 3 quantity squared. The opposite of squaring is square rooting. Y plus 4 equals plus or minus root 25 minus x minus 3 quantity squared. Do nothing with this. Subtract the 4. Y is 4 plus, negative 4 plus or minus that root. 25 minus x minus 3 quantity squared. And now you're in a perfect situation to graph. All right. So let's put our equations in. And you do have to use the plus or minus. Plain and simple. They've got to be there. We have a negative 4 plus the square root. What was that? 25 minus? 25 minus maybe x minus 3. Quantity squared. Now, the reason you have to use the plus or minus, and by the way, we're actually going to do what's called a zoom 5 square, is if you don't do the plus or minus, you only see half the circle. That's why you do it. Then I'm going to double graph key. And there's my circle. The tangent line only gets to hit the circle one time. If it hits more than once, it's not a tangent line. I'm going to try option B just mainly because I don't want to spend the whole day long on this. Option B is negative 4/3 of x. Wasn't option B, was it? Nope, it was not. Bummer. Let's try option E. Which is 3/4 of x. Plus 7/4. No, close. Is it option C? I would have expected something else, but it might be option C. It sure is, isn't it? Option C. All right, moving on to 19. Two real numbers have a sum and a product of -6. I'm just going to call them x and y. X plus y is -6, and a product, x times y, is -6. And I guess you could y1, y2 this if you wanted to, but I don't feel like doing it. Let's just move the y over. X is negative y minus 6. Put that right there. Negative y minus 6 times y is -6. That'll give me negative y squared minus 6y equals -6, and I'm going to shift everything to the right. So I have a 0 on the left, y squared plus 6y minus 6 on the right. Of course, it's obvious looking at the answer choices what it's going to be. It's going to be choice C. I think it could also be choice E. They're the most likely candidates. The reason I say that is because of conjugates. No. Anyways, 2x equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So we get -6 plus or minus square root. We have 36 plus 24, which is 60. Both pieces over at 2. We have -3 plus or minus root 60 is 4 times 15, 2 root 15. And it's also over 2, 2's cancel. So the plus is the bigger number. There you go, choice E. One to go for this video.